Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing video of my newest plushie on Dreadfuls. They came in two different shipments. The one on the top came through Chicago and the package on the bottom came through Miami. You know, sometimes they just like to break up the shipments because they don't fit in all the same mailer. And these are going to be the 3 new limited edition anxiety bunnies, which come in 3 fun new colors. I think only 1,000 or so of each have been made. If you guys follow American McGee and Plushie Dreadfuls on social media, you will probably be familiar with the tale of how there was like so much drama delaying their release like over and over and over again. For example, there was a typhoon and the release date got pushed back. I guess there was a problem with the factory supplying the fabric and stuff they were using. Then it turned out that, surprise, surprise, the colors they were given for the what do you call it, the models or whatever, the salesman samples for the marketing purposes and such in the campaign leading up to the release, they were like completely different from what actually turned out to be the colors. And they said the ears might be different too, but since they're tie-dye, they'll look a little bit different in every single batch. And then when they finally arrived at the factory, the guy driving the truck didn't want to load them into the lift taking them up to the warehouse, and they finally came here. So, you know, it wouldn't really be an anxiety bunny if they didn't cause everyone so much anxiety. And the one which is coming out first is the Fawn Response Plushie Dreadful. That bunny Fawn also had a lot of like drama leading up to her release, again with so many delays. But you know, sometimes these things happen, unfortunately, and it's not really anyone's fault. This is like such a nice bag. I actually started unboxing first, but there was a little bit of an embarrassing problem with that video, so I decided to just like start all over again, particularly because I hadn't done too much of that video yet and only gotten to one. Isn't this such a lovely, nice bag? Like I've gotten more into like pink over the last 10 or so years, which was a huge surprise to me. Although I prefer like dark and bright pinks, I'm still like proudly gender defiant and tomboyish in many things. So this isn't really my preferred shade of pink, but it's, you know, really pretty. Like as an artist, I admire like pretty colors, and the fawn is of course so sweet. I pulled up the description on the website back on my phone down there. It's part of their new C-PTSD lineup, like the 4 major responses to trauma: flight, there's fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And some people have also added a 5th trauma response, flop. Maybe they'll do that at some point in future. And like Fawn also had a number of other delays leading up to her own release. I forget already if I just mentioned that in the last few minutes. Isn't she so pretty? I'm keeping the name Fawn for her because that's already a name. And oh, she comes with little magnets that was a little bit hard to pull apart with that little response. And you can also, I believe, like put them on her face too, instead of just the hands. And like pretty much like everyone who's had trauma has experienced one of the trauma responses at some point. Many of us have had like all 4 responses, although many people will just have like the 1 or 2 basic responses. And I definitely relate to fawn response as well as, you know, freeze response. And of course, like a flight, that's they all like speak to me. And of course, like fight, I've also had that trauma response many different times. So, you know, we're all like a mix of sorts of things. We're not just like one trauma response all the time. I'm sorry if this is like kind of rambling. This video is totally unscripted. I'll read the description. A fawn response is when an individual, often one who has been previously traumatized, responds to a threat by trying to appease it. This response is often characterized by a submissive or passive demeanor, where the individual may comply with the wishes of others excessively, avoid confrontation, or prioritize maintaining harmony over asserting their own needs or boundaries. While most people are familiar with fight, flight, or freeze, fawn often goes unrecognized and is inappropriately seen as someone being very nice or kind, when they are often ignoring their needs and boundaries at their peril. And the alchemical symbol for eggshell is on the chest. It represents walking on eggshells and emotional fragility, if you guys can see that. This is like so fun and meaningful, and you can also obviously notice it's a slightly different type of fabric from what they usually use. They've also used this on some of their zodiac floofs for the astrological signs, not the entire animal, but just, for example, Leo the lion's mane, and just a few other animals. I believe also the Capricorn goat, bunny. I think there's another mermaid, more the three animals mixed together, which I currently don't have. That's also on my wish list. She's just so pretty. And there's also going to be a yellow limited edition anxiety bunny in here. I was thinking so long and hard what to name it, and I decided, since I'm calling the other two limited edition anxiety bunnies by names inspired by desserts, they actually are desserts, I'm going to continue with that theme and call this one Lemonade. I'm going with names that match the colors of the bunnies. Let's see. Ooh, I like this. The bags are different from the original anxiety bunny. I have that in a previous unboxing video, which is like dark orange. Well, I don't have the original. They did a kind of like an update revamping, but they kept generally the same orangish shade. And you can see, obviously, this is yellow. It's much darker yellow in the thing they got for the final than was shown in the original marketing samples and videos and promos and such, which is kind of nice for me. I really do like dark, bright shades of yellow, particularly like dark cadmium yellow. That's one of my favorite shades of yellow. And just let's see what the ears look like, because he did say they were all going to look a little bit different because they're cut from tie-dye. So, and it comes with a little thing in the back you can unzip for the mini anxiety bunnies. So, ooh, that's nice. Yeah, it's kind of like a lemonade color. I am going to name her Lemonade, so it really does fit with she looks darker yellow in person than it's showing up on camera. I know this lighting isn't the greatest, and sometimes lemonade can be this kind of pinky color depending on what kind of lemonade it is. This is going to be really fun, a great new addition. And there's also the anxiety bunnies also have magnets, as you guys can see. They attach to the face. It's a little hard to pull them apart. I guess that means it's a good magnet. And you can also do with the hands, and they can hold hands with one another. So that's really fun and cool. And now I'm going to open the other mailer. The first one out of this mailer looks like it is going to be the blue anxiety bunny, which looked a lot like paler green, kind of a minty turquoise in the originals, but it turned out to be like a completely different color, more of a true green on the lighter side. When they actually got them, they weren't exactly happy to discover, wow, the ones we've been promoting all these months waiting up to the release, they're not completely different from the ones you're actually delivering to us, so we're not going to work with you guys again. But pretty much everyone is happy with the bunnies as is, and some of us are even happier because it turns out the final colors are darker than what we were led to believe, and we like darker and brighter colors like that. So you can see this does seem to match a little bit more closely what was shown in the original promos and the salesman samples. I'm kind of blanking on the word. Maybe salesman sample is what I'm looking for. And this is, I can feel something. Oh, that's just a tag. I thought I was feeling the magnets. Ooh, this is really pretty. Again, this does look more greeny in person than it's showing up on camera. It does look more on the blue side, but wow, I really do like it. The ears do match closely with the body. Like, a lot of people were kind of disappointed the original salesman sample ears were kind of contrasting to the body. Maybe obviously in the same color range, but they were just a little bit brighter or something instead of kind of blending in. But I'm not going to complain. It's a really well made plushie, and I'll show you guys the anxiety rabbits zipped in when I get the final one out of the mailer. This is the one I was most looking forward to, and which is quickly proven to be the best selling one, which will probably be selling out first, and the one which most people were excited about, were the most excited about. I'm sorry if I'm still speaking too fast and nervous on camera after almost 3 years of seriously making videos. And so this is a really nice shade of purple. The ears were most changed from the salesman sample in the final products. They looked much less tie-dye-y and more blending in with the bunny body, but we're just going to see which type of the tie-dye ears I got, which part of the fabric mine was cut out of. Ooh, this is, oh, and I forgot to mention, I'm going to be naming the blue anxiety bunny bubblegum, because a lot of bubblegum is that kind of blue green shade. Oh, she's really pretty. It's a lighter purple, which was the case in the original ones. I don't mind. Oh, it does look like a little bit of the tie-dye pattern still showed up. Not nearly as dark as it was in the salesman samples, but you know, I'm not complaining. Isn't this just nice? I'm going to name her Lollipop. Purple, as you can see, is my favorite color. Wearing purple shirt today, and my purple plugs. These are kind of like, you know, purpley pink. I know you can't really, my ears aren't big enough yet, so you can like clearly see them really well without like pushing them up to the camera and doing a close-up. And so these, again, you can see obviously the magnets, and I'm going to just, you know, unzip in the back. The zipper has a little heart. This is the way on all of the anxiety bunnies, and they're kind of like worry dolls. You whisper your anxieties to them, and then you tuck them away. Don't touch them or look at them or whatever overnight, and that your anxieties are poof gone in the morning. These are what all the little anxiety bunnies look like, and they are also making another not yet released limited edition anxiety bunny, which is due for release in late September, unless of course there's lots of drama delaying it yet again, which will be perfect for reaching most people who order it in time for Halloween. They have a whole new Halloween line with like fun Halloween themed bunnies, like Frankenstein, headless horseman, like werewolf, a bunch of other fun stuff. I'm blanking off the top of my head, not looking at it in front of me. But anyway, this new fourth limited edition anxiety bunny is going to be black. That's one of my, you know, absolute top 5 favorite colors. And the anxiety bunnies for Black Bunny are not going to be white, even though that's obviously a great classic color contrast. They're going to be orange, keeping with the perfect Halloween theme. Like black and orange are just, you know, such an absolutely perfect color combination. Yeah, I can't say enough about how much I absolutely like love Halloween. This is such an absolutely great company doing so many good things, so much like time and love and care and respect go into making these plushies. It says over and over again on the website, they're not meant for children. They're not meant as children's toys, although more than a few reviewers do say they were bought for children, depending on what they, you know, represent, because like they're meant to like represent and symbolize medical issues like physical health, psychological issues like trauma responses, just other things that like hopefully children don't have to deal with. I mean, obviously children do deal with them, but they're just meant for adults because they're just not meant to be like dragged around and treated roughly like many children do treat their toys. And it does say if you're going to get it for your child who is like, God forbid, suffering with one of these issues, like it represents, like have a long talk with them about what it represents. Don't treat it like, oh, it's just another toy. And it's just such a powerful like emotional support like device, like comfort object, whatever, for many adults, and a very important like tool for helping with like psychological healing and comfort. Although of course nothing should take the place of like actually going to therapy and taking up medication if need be for your issues. They just make me feel like so much better about my issues. And it also, many people feel, and I agree, like, oh, this is representing a serious like issue I have, and it's so small and sweet and cute and cuddly, and it just needs so much love. Oh, it's suffering the same thing I do, like for example my trauma responses or anxiety or depression. And so maybe this means like I deserve more love and thoughtfulness, respect, or whatever than I thought, because, you know, if this little thing represents something that's so big to me, maybe it's not nearly as like bad and prominent as I had always thought it was. And you're also learning to hold space for that part of yourself that's like, you know, suffering with all of these, you know, terrible issues no one should suffer with. And they also donate a bunch of their money to like organizations and groups and charities and such working with these issues for like rare diseases and just other important causes the bunnies represent. So it's just like very, very sweet and meaningful to me. Thank you guys very much for watching all the way to the end. Let me know if you guys have Plushie Dreadfuls yourself, which are your favorite ones, which ones you are looking forward to getting, both ones that have not yet been released and ones that currently are there. Are there any that went out of print, I guess, like they are no longer being produced, that you're upset you missed out on because they won't be making them anymore? Or just what you think about like emotional support, like objects, or like adults collecting plushies, just on things like that. And I will see you guys again very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.